You are a beggar because you keep asking the universe for things you already possess. Stop this madness of manifesting, for the very seeking is the barrier between you and the truth. Your mind is a mechanism of desire, always projecting into a future that never arrives. I say to you, be still, be desireless, and find that you are already that which you long to become. The moment you stop seeking, you find everything. Hello, my beloved ones, I see you. I see you running, chasing, visualizing, and trying to pull the stars down to the earth. You have read the books. You have heard about the law of attraction. You have been told that if you only desire enough, if you only visualize clearly enough, the whole universe will conspire to give you what you want. And yet, you are here, still frustrated, still empty, still waiting for that manifestation to knock on your door. I tell you today, stop manifesting. This may sound like a shock to you. You have been told that manifesting is the highest form of spiritual technology. But I say to you, it is the greatest deception of the mind. It is simply the old rotten greed of the marketplace, dressed up in spiritual clothes. You are still a beggar, but now you are a beggar using vibrations and visualizations instead of ordinary coins. Why do your manifestations fail? They fail because the very act of manifesting is an act of the mind, and the mind is a mechanism of desiring. The mind can never exist in the present. It only knows the past or the future. It needs space to move. In this very moment, right here and now, the mind cannot move because there is no space. But your manifestation is always about the future. You want to be rich tomorrow. You want to find a lover next week. You want to be healthy next year. The moment you start manifesting, you have moved away from the present. You have moved away from yourself, and that is the only place where truth exists, here and now. Truth is not something to be achieved in the future. It is already the case. You are the truth just here and now. So when you try to manifest something, you are essentially saying to the universe, what I have right now is not enough. I am not enough as I am. I must become something else. This becoming is the root of all your tension. You are A and you want to be B. This gap between A and B is what I call anguish, stress, and misery. A Buddha is someone who has stopped becoming and has started being. He is at ease with his being. Whether he is a beggar or an emperor, it is irrelevant. He's at home. I see you in the comments asking how, Osho, how do I stop desiring? And I laugh. Because when you ask how to stop desiring, you are now desiring non-desire. The mind has played a trick on you. It has simply changed the object. Before, you were desiring money. Now you are desiring the state of desirelessness. It is the same trap. The seeking has entered again through the back door. Look at your life. If you really want to understand why your manifestations fail, look at the nature of your activity. Most of what you call manifestation work is not action. It is just a feverish activity of a restless mind. Action is a spontaneous response to the present moment. But activity is loaded with the past. You are so restless within that you use manifestation as an excuse to keep the mind running. I would like you to consider the lilies in the field. As Jesus said, they toil not, they spin not, they don't have vision boards. They don't sit in the morning and visualize themselves becoming bigger or rosier. They are simply in harmony with nature. And in that harmony, they are more beautiful than King Solomon in all his glory. They are celebrators, not goal seekers. You must understand this distinction. There are two types of people, the goal seekers and the celebrators. The goal seekers are the mad ones. They think that when they reach the goal, then they will celebrate. But the horizon always moves. By the time you reach where the goal was, the mind has already projected a new goal further ahead. You are on a treadmill, running very fast but reaching nowhere. The celebrator knows that the goal is already here. The goal is not in the future. You are the goal. The whole existence is already pouring into this moment. All that is already here. When you understand this, you relax. And that relaxation is the greatest secret of Tantra. Many of you try to relax as a must. You buy books titled "You Must Relax." But the must is against relaxation. Relaxation comes only when there is no must in your life. It is a state where your energy is not moving anywhere, not to the future, not to the past. It is simply there with you. A silent pool. This is what I call being at home. When you are at home, when you are totally relaxed, a strange thing happens. Everything you ever wanted starts moving toward you. But now you don't care. That is the irony. When you don't want it, the whole universe is ready to give it. But as long as you are a beggar, demanding and visualizing the universe keeps its doors closed. Why? Because your very demand is a declaration of your poverty. Your manifestation is a way of saying, I am empty, fill me. And the universe only echoes your own state. If you feel empty, you will receive more emptiness. Think of it like this: if you have a treasure hidden in your house, but you have forgotten it, you will go and bathe in the streets. If someone tells you, go and look inside your house, you can be an emperor this very moment, you will say, what nonsense! I have been begging for years and I am still a beggar. How can I be an emperor now? You cannot believe it because your begging mind is a long habit. But the treasure is there. You only need to dig a little bit and remove the earth. The earth is your body identity, your mind identities, your ego. Before we go deeper, I want to invite those who are truly ready to dig, those who are tired of being beggars, to join this fellowship. If you find these words resonating in your heart, click that subscribe button. It is not for me, it is for you to stay connected to this vibration of truth. And if you feel like sharing the fragrance, like this video so that it reaches other thirsty souls. For those who want to support this work more deeply, the join button is there. It helps us keep the hollow bamboo singing. We also have our digital books, the e-books, available for you to carry these teachings in your pocket like a lamp in the dark. Now, let us return to the breath. Shiva gives us 112 techniques to reach the center, and the first 9 are about breath. Why breath? Because breath is the bridge between you and the universe. It is the bridge between your body and your soul. If the bridge is broken, you move into an unknown dimension. Most people think they are breathing, but they are not. Breathing goes on in spite of you. You are fast asleep and breathing goes on. You are not required, but if you can become aware of your breathing, everything changes. Not the pranayama of the yogis. I am not talking about systematizing the breath or making it long or short. Tantra is not interested in that. Tantra is interested in using the breath to turn inwards. Shiva says, Radiant One, this experience may dawn between two breaths. When you take a breath in, it moves down. Then there is a single moment, a thousandth part of a second, where the breath stops before it turns and goes out. In that gap, you are neither in the world nor in the nobody. In that gap, you are dead, yet you are still there. Each outgoing breath is a death, and each incoming breath is a rebirth. If you can feel this gap, you will know the beneficence. You will know that which is never born and never dies. And this is why manifestation fails. You are trying to manifest within the world of form, while the source of all manifestation is in the formless gap between the breaths. You are looking at the waves, but you have forgotten the ocean. You see a wrestler like Onami, whose name means great waves. He was strong in private, but in public his pupils could throw him. Why? Because in public he became self-conscious. He became focused on his ego, on his image, on manifesting a win. The Zen master told him, "Imagine you are the waves. Forget you are a wrestler." This is the secret. To truly manifest, you must first disappear. If you are there, you are a block. If you are there, you are like a mirror covered with dust. You can only reflect your own desires, which are just memories of the past. But when you become a hollow bamboo, the universe can sing through you. Then your manifestation is not yours. It is the universe's manifestation through you. Do you see the difference? In your law of attraction, you are the center. You are the boss. You are telling the universe what to do. What ego? What stupidity? The part is trying to dictate to the whole. Tantra says, drop the part, become the whole. If you are a dancer, don't try to be a great dancer. If you try to be great, you will be technical. You will be efficient, but you will not be a creator. Nijinsky, the great dancer, used to take leaps that defied the law of gravitation. When he was asked how he did it, he said, "When I am there, it doesn't happen. When I disappear, when I am no longer there to do the jumping, it happens." This is action through inaction, Wei Wu Wei. Allowing God to happen is creativity. Allowing God to happen is true manifestation. If you are trying to manifest, you are using effort, and effort is a barrier. Effort means you are tense. Effort means you are not in the present. So the first thing is to drop all your shoulds and should nots. A creative person has to be a child again. A child doesn't know what is right or wrong. He just fools around. He experiments. He is not afraid to look foolish. If you are afraid to look foolish, you can never be a creator. You will only be a carbon copy, a producer of dead things. I have heard of a teacher who asked her students to draw the Holy Family. One little boy drew an aeroplane with 4 heads sticking out. The teacher asked, "I see Joseph, Mary, and Jesus. Who is the 4th?" The boy said, That is Pontius the Pilate. This is creativity. He has discovered something new. He is not tied to your conventions. But you are so respectable. You want to manifest so that you can be even more respectable. You want a bigger car so the neighbors will look at you with envy. You want a Nobel Prize, but then you are no longer a creator. You are a politician. A really creative person doesn't care about fame. He is so fulfilled in the act itself that the world's appreciation is irrelevant. If it comes, good. If it doesn't come, good. He has already reached the goal in the doing of it. This is why I say, find nirvana in the ordinary. If you are cleaning the floor, clean it with such love, such totality, that it becomes a painting. If you are cooking, cook as if you are preparing an offering for the divine. Then your work becomes worship. Then you are no longer a doer, but a vehicle. If you can be total in small things, you will be total in big things. But you are waiting for the big thing to happen, to be total. You think, when I get my $1 million, then I will be happy, then I will be meditative. No, it works the other way. Be happy now, be meditative now, and the $1 million or the lack of it will not make a bit of difference to your bliss. And that is the real Osho secret. The goal is the path, and the path is the goal. There is no there to reach. You are already there. You have always been there. You are like a man who is dreaming. He is a beggar and wakes up to find he is a king in his own palace. Did he manifest the palace? No. He simply woke up. My effort here is to wake you up, not to help you dream better dreams. Manifesting is just a better dream, a lucid dream. But to stop the dreaming altogether. For when the dreaming stops, the truth is revealed. And the truth is far more psychedelic, far more colorful, far more joyous than any manifestation your tiny mind could ever conceive. Stay with me. We are going to go into the very atomic secrets of your consciousness. We are going to explore how your intellect acts as a barrier and how your beliefs are closing the very doors you are trying to open. But first, take a deep breath. Feel it coming in. Feel that gap. Feel it going out. Feel that gap. In those gaps, you will find the super thanks of the universe. If you feel like expressing your gratitude for this moment of clarity, you can use that button below to support our work. It is your way of participating in this energy exchange. You have been told that knowledge is power. I tell you, knowledge is a burden. Innocence is power. Become ignorant again. Die to your past. Stop being a file keeper of your own memories. Look at the world with fresh eyes, and you will see that everything you have been trying to manifest is already being showered upon you, if only you had the eyes to see. The manifestation you seek is a shadow. The truth I speak of is the light. If you chase the shadow, you will run forever. If you turn toward the light, the shadow follows you on its own. You are chasing shadows, and you wonder why your hands are empty. You have made manifesting into a business, a contract with the divine, but the divine does not sign contracts. The universe only knows the language of presence, of being, of total abandon. But your intellect stands in the way. It is a very clever barrier, a very sophisticated wall that you have built between yourself and the reality that is already yours. Understand the nature of this intellect. It is something pseudo, a plastic substitute for real intelligence. Intelligence is an awakening, a state of heart wakefulness, while the intellect is merely a mental game. You use your intellect to manifest because you are afraid of the unknown. You want to stay within the familiar, the charted, the planned. You want to know exactly what is going to happen next. But life is not a logical phenomenon. Life is a paradox. Life is a mystery. If you try to force it into the narrow corridors of your logic, you will only strangle the very life you are trying to attract. The intellect is always of the past. It is a collection of memories, of borrowed knowledge, of things others have told you. It is a file keeper. And because it is made of the past, it can never encounter the present, which is always new and fresh. Your manifestation techniques are essentially trying to use the old dead past to create a new future. But how can the dead give birth to the living? It is impossible. If you are acting out of memory, you are not acting at all. You are merely reacting. You are a robot repeating a program. I want to tell you about the contemporary mind. It is a contradiction in terms. Mind is never contemporary. It is always old. To be contemporary is to be without mind, to be here now. When you are in the moment, thoughts cease, desires arise no more, and you become disconnected from the past and the future. In that disconnection, you are for the first time free to truly be. And in that being, the highest creativity and the most profound manifestations happen by themselves. Think about the great artists, the real creators. A true artist disappears into his art. He is no longer separate from it. When he paints, when he dances, when he sings, he is possessed by some unknown force. He becomes a hollow bamboo, and the song comes through him, not from him. He does not manifest the song, he allows the song to be born. This is what I call action through inaction. Wei Wu Wei. It is the paradox of creativity. Supreme action on the surface, but supreme relaxation in the depth. But you are too much of a doer. You are trying to manifest through effort, through will, through the ego. And the ego is the greatest obstacle to your fulfillment. The ego is a byproduct of your conflict with existence. You are fighting the river, trying to go upstream. And the ego is the tension created by that fight. If you drop the conflict, the ego disappears. And when the ego disappears, you are no longer a wave trying to be the ocean. You realize you are the ocean. Many of you are trapped in perfectionism. Your ego wants to be perfect, higher and better than others. But through the ego, perfection is never possible. The more you try to be perfect, the more neurotic and divided you become. You are always comparing yourself to some ideal. And because you always fall short, you are always miserable. A real artist never thinks of perfection. He only thinks of totality. He wants to be totally in the act, to be lost in it. And the miracle is that those who are total are naturally perfect, while those who seek perfection are never total. Look at the third eye, the Sivnetra. Between your eyebrows is a gland, the pineal gland, which is the most mysterious part of your body. It is a magnet for attention. When you close your eyes and focus on that point, your two eyes become hypnotized by it. They become fixed. And in that fixing, a strange thing happens. You become a witness to your own thoughts. For the first time, you see your thoughts running before you like clouds in the sky. And you are not identified with them. You are the observer on the hill, separate and untouched. In this state of witnessing, your imagination becomes tremendously potent. But this is a dangerous power if your mind is impure. If you are focused at the third eye and you have a thought of anger or suicide, it can become an actuality immediately. This is why all the ancient traditions emphasized purity and discipline before giving these techniques. Purity is not a moral concept here. It is a mechanical necessity. It means being centered, being balanced, being without division. Your manifestation fails because you are divided. One part of you wants wealth, another part is afraid of it. One part wants love, another part is protecting the ego from being hurt. You are an anarchy of desires. To manifest effectively, you must become an organic unity. You must return to your center. And your original center is not the head, and it is not even the heart. It is the navel, the hara. A child is born rooted in the navel. He breathes with his belly. But as he grows, he is taught to move away from his center. First, he moves to the heart center through love and emotion. Then he is forced into the head center through education, logic, and the marketplace. By the time you are an adult, you are living in the attic of your being, completely oblivious to the foundation. You are uprooted, and that is why you feel a sense of thrownness, as if you are a stranger in the universe. The head center is for knowing, the heart center is for feeling, and the navel center is for being. Knowing is the farthest from being. If you only know through the intellect, you are an outsider. If you feel through the heart, you are nearer to the home. But only when you return to the navel, to the center of your being, are you truly at home. How to return? Shiva gives a technique. Place your whole attention in the nerve, delicate as the lotus thread, in the center of your spinal column. In that focus, you are transformed. You move from the periphery to the axis, the unmoving center of the moving wheel. Most people spend their whole lives on the circumference, moving from one desire to another, one manifestation to another. But the circumference is always in flux. Only at the center is there peace. Only at the center is there truth. You have heard the story of the Zen master and the painting. He tried to make it perfect while his disciple was watching, and he failed repeatedly. But the moment the disciple went out to prepare more ink, the master produced his masterpiece. His own perfectionism and the awareness of being watched had disturbed his inner tranquility. When you try to manifest, you are like that master with the disciple watching. You are watching yourself. You are judging yourself. You are trying to perform manifestation. And the very tension of performance makes the outcome impossible. Nature is perfect, but effort is always imperfect. Whenever you do something too much, you are destroying it. Manifesting is a doing too much. It is a forced effort to bend the universe to your will. But the universe cannot be bent. It can only be joined. You can be with the whole in harmony, or you can be against the whole in conflict. Harmony results in bliss, conflict results in manifestation failures. Try this instead. Like a hollow bamboo, rest at ease with your body. This is one of the most beautiful meditations. Sit silently. Shut your mouth so that your tongue touches the roof. This stops the subtle quivering of thoughts. Then feel that your body is like a bamboo, hollow inside. Your skin, your bones, your blood are just the walls of the bamboo, and inside is pure space, emptiness. When you are empty, you are no longer a barrier. Then the infinite energy of the universe starts pouring into you. You don't have to manifest it. It is already there, waiting for an opening. You become a flute, and the divine can sing through you. This emptiness is not negative. It is the highest form of fullness. It is what Buddha called sunya. But you are afraid of emptiness. You are afraid of the void. You go on filling your mind with manifestation rituals, visualizations and affirmations because you cannot bear the silence. You are a hothouse plant, living in your dreams, afraid of the reality that lies just outside the glass. But your dreams, even your spiritual dreams of manifestation, are still prisons. They may be golden prisons, but they are still cages. The real awakening is the cessation of all dreaming, including the dream of manifestation. While the dreaming is there, you are not really awake. You are merely moving from one level of sleep to another. We call Buddha the awakened one because his inner dreaming has stopped completely. He has become pure space. You are constantly interpreting reality through your past beliefs. If I tell you that you are already divine, your intellect says that cannot be. Look at my bank balance. Look at my health. Your belief in your limitations is what creates your limitations. Belief is always closed. It is a finished thing. But experience is always open, always unfinished. A creator does not carry beliefs. He carries only his own experiences. He is ready to look at life again and again in a new way, with no mind. To have no mind does not mean to be stupid. It means to have a clarity that is not clouded by thoughts and ideals. When you look at a rose with no mind, you see the rose as it is, not as your memory says it should be. And when you see reality as it is, that truth liberates you from the need to manifest anything. Because you realize that what you are is infinitely more valuable than anything you could ever get. Your mind is a mechanism for postponement. It says tomorrow, when I have manifested my dream house, then I will be happy. Tomorrow, when I am successful, then I will meditate. This is a trick to avoid the present, but the present is the only time there is. The now is eternal. If you are not happy now, you will never be happy. Even if you manifest the whole world, you will still be you, the same miserable, desiring person, just in a more expensive house. Look at the waves of the sea. They don't try to manifest being the ocean. They are the ocean. But a wave that thinks of itself only as a wave is weak and afraid of disappearing. It is a monk of its own making, trying to define its boundaries and keep its separate identity. But there is no such thing as a separate wave. The wave is just a waving of the ocean. You are a waving of the divine energy. Stop being a self and start being consciousness. Consciousness has no idea of I, of ego, of separation. It is in a deep at-one-ment with existence. When you are in that state, your breathing changes. It becomes deeper. It touches the navel. And when you touch the navel, you touch the center, where the out-breath and the in-breath fuse. At that point of fusion, you touch the energyless, energy-filled center. It is energyless because it doesn't depend on your fuel, your food, or your effort. It is energy-filled because it is the cosmic source itself. This is the atomic secret of the breath. In that gap where the breath turns, you are neither body nor mind. You are in a neutral gear, where you are simply existence, pure, simple, unembodied. This is the state from which all true creation arises, not from the noisy, vibrating gears of the mind, but from the silent, neutral center. Most of you are like people who go to a film and get so absorbed in the story that they forget they are sitting in a theater. You are weeping because the film is a tragedy, or you are laughing because it is a comedy. You have become identified with the play of light and shadow on the screen. Manifesting is just you trying to change the script of the movie. But I am telling you to look at the projector. I am telling you to realize that you are the one watching the film, not the character in it. This self-forgetfulness is the root of your sleep. And your manifestation rituals are like a person who is dreaming and tries to dream that they are awake. It doesn't help. you are still dreaming. You must wake up altogether. And waking up happens when you start remembering I am in everything you do. Not as a verbal mantra, but as a deep feeling of presence. When you eat, feel I am. When you walk, feel I am. When your manifestations fail, feel I am. The more real you become inside, the more unreal becomes the surrounding world of dreams. And when the world of dreams becomes unreal, you don't need to manifest anything within it anymore. It is like being in a dream where you are hungry and you try to manifest a dream loaf of bread. If you wake up, you don't need the dream bread. You are in your kitchen where the real food is. All your desires are for dream bread. You want money, power, prestige. These are all dream objects. They won't fulfill you because they are of the same stuff as your dreams. Real fulfillment comes from your being, not from your becoming. It is a discovery, not an attainment. You are already perfect as you are. You are already divine. You are already a millionaire in the spirit, but you are begging for pennies in the world of shadows. Let your life be a celebration, not a struggle. Celebration means this moment is more than enough. It means there is no need to ask for more. Gratitude arises, and gratitude is the only true manifestation technique. When you are truly grateful, the whole existence starts pouring its treasures upon you. Not because you asked for them, but because you are now in a state to receive them. You have been taught to be ambitious, to be goal-oriented, to be aggressive. This is the masculine, young energy. It is useful in the marketplace, but it is useless in the inner world. To reach the divine, to reach the source of all creativity, you must become feminine, receptive, yin. You must become a womb. A womb doesn't go chasing after life. It simply stays open and receptive, and life comes to it and grows within it. Your manifestation rituals are too aggressive. They are a rape on the mind, an effort to force reality into a certain shape. True manifestation is a let go. It is allowing the universe to shape you. It is yielding to a power that is not your own. This is the meaning of surrender. And surrender is not a defeat. It is the greatest victory possible, because it is the victory over your own tiny, limited ego. When you are in a state of total acceptance, your inner law is enough. You don't need any imposed order, any rituals, any disciplines. You grow spontaneously, like a tree in the forest. And that growth is your truth. That growth is your manifestation. But this is very difficult for the ego to understand, because the ego only knows how to fight and how to manipulate. I see you trying to manifest love, but love is desireless. You can desire love, but the moment love happens, desire disappears. Love is a state of being where the other is no longer an instrument for your pleasure, but a partner in a deep shared experience. If you are trying to manifest a lover as an instrument for your fulfillment, it is not love you are seeking, it is exploitation. And exploitation only brings more misery. Stop trying to find a perfect lover and start being a loving person. Total acceptance of yourself as you are, including your anger, your greed, and your sex, is the first step. Don't condemn them. Don't try to manifest their opposite. If you are angry, be totally angry. But be aware of it. Awareness transforms the energy of anger into compassion. If you fight the anger, you lose the energy that could have become compassion. The same is true for sex. Sex is the seed, love is the flower. If you condemn the seed, you will never see the flower. Tantra says to approach the sex act as if you are entering a holy temple. Feel the holiness of it. If the act is total, the mind dissolves, and for few moments you touch eternity. This is why sex has such a grip on the human mind, not because of the biology, but because of the glimpse it gives of the Hara center, the center of being. But even sex has become cerebral for modern man. You think about it, you watch it on a screen, you read about it. It has moved to the head, and in the head it is only a shadow. To return to the center, you must move down from the head to the Hara. You must leave the becoming of the intellect and return to the being of the navel. In your manifestations, you are always trying to use a formula, but there is no formula for life. There are only techniques to help you wake up. These techniques are atomic. They are small, but their effect is explosive. But they will only work if you actually do them, not just talk about them. And you will only do them if you are truly ready to die to your old self. Are you ready to be nothing? Are you ready to be a void? Because only in that void can the divine be born. If you are full of your own manifestation plans and your own ego desires, there is no room for the universe to enter. You must peel off the layers of your onion identity until you reach the center, which is a nothingness. Buddha called it Sunya. And to the ego, Sunya looks like death. But to the awakened soul, Sunya is the only real life. Stop being a seeker and start being a finder. The finder knows that what he is looking for is already here. He is not going anywhere. He is not trying to manifest a better version of himself. He is content with who he is, and in that contentment, he finds that he is already everything he ever wanted to be. The world you see is created by your mind. If your mind is full of conflict, the world is full of conflict. If you are trying to manifest wealth because you feel poor, you are only strengthening the vibration of poverty in your being. Change the within and the without will change automatically. This is the only law of attraction that matters. Like attracts like. If you are full of bliss, you attract bliss. If you are full of celebration, you attract celebration. But don't do it to attract anything. Do it for its own sake. Do it because it is your love affair with existence. Do it because being blissful is your very nature. Then whether anything manifests or not is irrelevant. You are already rich. You have already won. The game is over, and you are the master. The mind is a mechanism of desiring, and manifestation is its most sophisticated desire. But truth is only in the present, and the mind is always in the future or the past. There is no meeting between mind and truth. So to find the truth, you must put the mind aside. You must step out of the treadmill of how and when and what if. You must simply be. Take another breath. Watch it turn. In that turning, there is no Osho, there is no you, there is no manifestation. There is only a silent, luminous presence. That presence is the only thing that is real. Everything else is just a play of light and shadow on the wall of your cave. Turn around, look at the sun, and walk out into the open sky. The door is not locked. It has never been locked. You were just too busy visualizing a better door to notice that you are already standing in the garden. Once you have stopped the frantic effort to push the walls of your reality, you begin to see that self-consciousness itself is a disease. Consciousness is health, but self-consciousness is a morbid, frozen state where something has gone wrong in the natural flow of your inner river. You are like a dirty pool, going nowhere just drying out and stinking. This is the condition of the man who tries to manifest through the ego. Real consciousness has no idea of I, no idea of ego, and no idea of separation from existence. It knows no boundaries and is in a deep at one-ment with the whole. It is like breathing. You breathe in, the whole enters you. You breathe out, you enter the whole. The balance is never lost unless the self interferes. But a self-conscious man takes in but never gives out. He accumulates and becomes incapable of sharing. He puts up no trespassing signs around his being and eventually becomes a grave. This paradox is fundamental. To be self-conscious is to be unconscious, and to be unself-conscious is to become truly conscious. When this tiny, small self disappears, you attain the real self of the all. You lose your small center and attain the center of existence itself, becoming a vehicle, a flute for the divine Son. This is the only true surrender. Self-consciousness is a non-surrendering attitude, an attitude of conflict and struggle against a universe you can never defeat. You cannot exist separately. You cannot be a monk in the sense of being a monopoly of yourself. You can succeed only with existence, never against it. If you are in deep misery, you are creating it by fighting the whole. You are like Mullah Nasruddin, who, when told his wife fell into a flooded river, started swimming upstream because he insisted his wife always went against the current. The ego is always trying to go upstream. It enjoys hard things because they provide a challenge to the ego, making it feel sharp and subtle. People risk their lives on Everest not because there is something to gain, but because the unconquered peak is a challenge to the ego. You build big houses and accumulate money not for comfort, but for the ego. You are never comfortable as you are because the ego needs more food to survive. Do not throw your responsibility on past lives or the devil or the social structure. If you are miserable, only you are responsible in the present. Change happens only when you start dropping the conflict with existence. The ego is nothing but the sum total of all the tensions you have created around yourself. There is no need to create it, but you do so because the real self is unknown to you. It is difficult to live without a self, so you create a pseudo-self, a homemade substitute. The real self is vast and mysterious, escaping all definitions. The more a wise man ponders it, the more it becomes unknowable. Because you cannot live in that emptiness without a center. You purchase plastic roses instead of growing real ones. They won't deceive you, but they might deceive the neighbors for a while. When asked who you are, you give a name that is not yours, a profession that is just a means of living, and a family tree that is accidental. None of these define your being. Your real self was not created by you. It is a footprint of the divine. As an Arab guide once told a scoffer in the desert, this false self is fragile and weak because it is man-made, and that is why you carry a continuous fear that it might be lost or destroyed. You must understand the difference between a mechanical unity and an organic unity. A car engine is a mechanical unity. You assemble parts from the outside. If you take them apart, the engine is gone. But a seed is an organic unity. The center comes first, and then the circumference is gathered. You are an organic unity, but you have forgotten the center and are living entirely on the circumference. This is why you are always trembling and seeking support from others, appreciation, claps, gold medals. You depend on foolish people to certify your intelligence and ugly people to certify your beauty. It is idiotic. You are decorating your ego, which is like retouching an X-ray to avoid a painful operation. It is cheap, but it won't make you healthy. When you drop the ego, you drop the whole false world you created around it and finally see things as they are. Everybody is immensely strong because everybody is rooted in the divine. Even a small atom has vast energy, and your consciousness is a flame from an infinite source. But you forget your strength and search for power in wrong places like money or politics. You are a wave that has forgotten it is the ocean. The wave cannot exist without the ocean, but the ocean can exist without the wave. When you remember yourself, you forget existence. When you forget yourself, you remember existence. To arrive at this realization, you must learn the art of listening. Listening means passivity, receptivity, becoming a womb. You cannot reach truth as an aggressive invader. You can only be reached by truth when you are open. Your ears are more feminine and receptive than your eyes, which are aggressive and male. Looking at someone for too long is a trespass, but listening has no limits. By becoming receptive, you become imaginative. And imagination is the faculty that comes closest to the divine. God must be a great dreamer to have imagined this world with all its butterflies and stars. In the third eye, dream and reality become one, and you realize this whole world is the dream of the divine. This is why I emphasize three dimensions for the new man: consciousness, compassion, and creativity. Consciousness is being, compassion is feeling, and creativity is action. You have to be as meditative as a Buddha, as loving as a Krishna, and as creative as Michelangelo, all at once. One-dimensional man has failed to transform humanity. We need people who are Zorba the Buddha, earthly yet meditative, full of love yet silent. Logic is cold and dry, but poetry can dance. If humanity becomes too logical, it disappears into replaceable numbers. Creativity is action through inaction. It is not a doing, but an allowing. A painter is madly active on the surface, but deep down there is only silence. This is the paradox of the Creator. When the ego disappears, the wound in you is healed, and you start flowing with the immense current of existence. You become a pattern that perpetuates itself, a whirlpool in an ever-flowing river. The death of the ego is the beginning of real life, and real life is creativity. You don't need a school to learn it. You only need to help the ego dissolve. If you are meditative and egoless, truth and beauty surround you, and whatever happens is good. You may be a cook or a street cleaner, but there will be creativity in it. You will be inventive in small things, making even cleaning into a kind of worship. When you are creative, ambitions and desires disappear because you are already fulfilled. You are already that which you always wanted to be. But nature's energy only becomes destructive when its natural flow is obstructed. Only ill people are destructive. Healthy people are naturally creative. You must understand the nature of activity versus action. Action is when the situation demands it and you respond spontaneously. Activity is when you are so restless that the situation is just an excuse to be busy. Eating when hungry is action. Eating when you are bored is a disease, a kind of violence against food to release inner restlessness. Smoking is a secular form of transcendental meditation. A rhythmic chanting of smoke to soothe a feverish mind. Activity is an escape from yourself, whereas in action you are fully present. 90% of your energy is wasted in irrelevant activity, leaving you with nothing when the moment for real action arrives. A relaxed person is non-obsessive. He conserves his energy, and when the moment for action comes, his total being flows into it. If you stop one activity, you will likely start another unless you change the underlying restlessness. You might stop smoking and start talking too much, throwing your mental garbage onto others. People are afraid of silence because they know they might crack up and realize their own obsessive nature. If you want to drop activity, do not make it an obsession. Simply be aware. Watch the activity with full consciousness, and eventually the cigarette or the habit will fall away like a dead leaf from a tree. When things drop of their own accord, they leave no scar and don't strengthen the ego. Rest at ease with your body like a hollow bamboo. Don't desire heaven or even God, because desire is the bondage. When you are desireless, you are liberated. This teaching is often misunderstood as a lack of striving, but the effort to become is the very barrier to being. You already have the seed of Buddhahood within you. It only needs space to explode. Be happy with yourself as you are and celebrate your existence. The essence of wisdom is to act in harmony with nature. Animals do this unconsciously, but man must do it consciously. This is your grandeur and your responsibility. When you fall into deep sleep, you return to a horizontal animal state to rejuvenate. But you can surpass this by being in conscious contact with nature. Sit by a tree and let your boundaries dissolve. You will see the world as luminous, and your feet will be ready to dance. This is the state of creativity. A poet is closer to truth than a theologian, because the theologian thinks too much, creating a wall between himself and the whole. Life is not just maintaining yourself. Living is more than just not dying. If you only maintain, you are perpetuating, but not surpassing. Surpassing happens only when the beyond comes into contact with you. This is the point of transcendence, where you are not, and yet for the first time you truly are. You need not become famous. A creative person is already fulfilled. Ambition disappears in the present moment. You become an alchemist who can touch mud and turn it into a lotus. To be creative, you must get rid of all conditionings, otherwise, you are just a carbon copy. The Creator cannot follow a well trodden path. He must search the jungles alone. He must be a drop out from the mob mind, which is the lowest mind in the world. In the past, artists had to live bohemian lives to survive. But in the future, everyone should live individually. My effort is to destroy the collective mind and make each person free to be themselves. Humanity will be born only when the individual is respected in his rebellion. This freedom requires that you do not interfere with anyone else's life, and they should not poke their noses into yours. The idea of a peeping Tom God who watches you in the bathroom is ugly and must be dropped. Creativity is the fragrance of individual freedom. You must undo everything the society, the teacher, the policeman, and the priest have done to you. You must risk your respectability and be ready to look bizarre or like a freak to others. It is a great risk, but a little creativity is worth more than the whole world. Discipline is not about shoulds and should nots. It is the process of learning. A knowledgeable person is never a disciple because his ego is fed by his so-called knowledge. Real discipline means being ready to inquire and explore from a state of luminous not knowing. You must drop what you have learned continuously, so that it doesn't become a barrier to further learning. A creative person needs vast space, not the walls of a prison. Your discipline must come from your own heart, not from some 5,000-year-old law given by Manu or Moses. Those laws are dead corpses, and they make your life stink. Live in the responsibility of the moment. What is right now may be wrong in the next moment. Do not try to be consistent, for only dead people are consistent. Be alive with all your inconsistencies and respond to life according to the context of the now. That totality is creativity. It does not matter if you make shoes or paint pictures, as long as you put your soul into it. Abraham Lincoln respected his father's creativity as a shoemaker more than his own role as president. The greatness is in the consciousness you bring to the act, not the act itself. If you don't love what you do, it is a burden, not creativity. Do not wait for $1 million to be happy. Nirvana is found in the ordinary, in cooking, cleaning, and chopping wood. When every small activity is transformed into a prayer, your house becomes a temple. If you make nirvana a future goal, it will become a nightmare. But if you live it now, it is freedom. Friedrich Nietzsche said that the greatest calamity would be the disappearance of dreamers. All evolution is the result of dreaming. But the dream of a creator is different from the dream of a sick mind. Michelangelo saw a beautiful statue of Jesus in an ugly rock that had been rejected for 12 years. He said he didn't make the statue, he only removed the unnecessary parts of the rock to free Jesus from his bondage. The whole of existence is an organic unity, and we are all breathing together in one orchestra. If you are silent, the walls between you and others disappear. Authentic religion is about bringing together those who have fallen apart in their ignorance. You must give up psychological memory to live in the here now. Factual memory is a must for survival, but psychological memory is a burden that distorts your perception of the present. If someone insulted you yesterday, that is a fact. But if you still feel angry today, that is psychological memory. You are not the same man who was insulted, and he is not the same man who insulted you. The river has flowed on. When you drop the psychological past, you become a mirror that reflects the suchness of the present. Creative imagination has nothing to do with memory. In fact, memory often interferes with creativity by forcing you into repetitive patterns. To see a rose, you must put your memory aside so that you can interpenetrate with its being. Use language as a tool afterward to express the experience, but do not let it talk inside you while the experience is happening. If your writing only has roots in what you remember, you are a file keeper, not a writer. Real creativity is out of consciousness, not remembrance. 99% of art today is pathological vomit, not birth. Picasso's paintings might have saved him from madness, but they are dangerous to meditate upon. Real art, like the Taj Mahal, is objective and helps you become silent and meditative. It was created by a Sufi mystic who understood energy patterns. Listening to Beethoven or looking at a Michelangelo transports you to the other source because it was born from a state of pregnancy with the divine. When you finish a great work, you will feel empty, like a mother who has just given birth. Do not call this exhaustion, call it being spent in fulfillment. A room is full of space only when the furniture is removed. Enjoy that emptiness. It is a rest period needed to rejuvenate before the next creation is born. The deeper the work, the deeper the wake of silence it leaves behind. Accept the night as you accept the day. Learn the discipline of your art and then forget it totally. In Zen, you learn for 12 years and then forget for 12 years through meditation and manual labor. Only then can you be spontaneous. True creativity often comes from cross-breeding disciplines. A mathematician playing music or a dancer studying physics. Innovation happens when you move from the known technique into the uncharted territory of your soul. Do not seek fame or respectability, for they are the enemies of creativity. The world only understands the past, so it will reject anything truly new. Van Gogh died in poverty because he saw stars as they actually are, a fact physicists only discovered a century later. Art should be for art's sake, a bridge between you and existence. If it makes you silent and joyous, it is authentic art. The religions that condemn wealth are against life itself. You need money for food, clothes, and the energy to understand great art and music. Mohammedans deprived man of a tremendous experience by prohibiting music. Aurangzeb buried music deep so that it could never come out again. But poverty is not spiritual. It is a crime against humanity. Wealth should be respected as a creation of talent, just like poetry. Money is a scientific way of exchanging things and a medium that makes people rich when it is allowed to flow like a current. You must stop being a spectator of life, reading about it, watching it on screens. Meaning comes only through participation. Risk all to dance, to sing, to live multidimensionally. Socrates, facing death, was told by a dream to make music, and he found a bliss he had never known through logic alone. Do not let your life become a dead ritual. Let there be mysterious, unexplainable moments. Be a little crazy. A man who is 100% sane is already dead. Everything is already perfect, and you are already the truth. You do not need to go anywhere else. You only need to return to yourself. These techniques are for putting the mind aside so that your being can shine forth. This is not an attainment, but a discovery of the hidden treasure that has always been in your house. The manifestation you seek is within your own silence. The manifestation you seek is within your own silence. But how can you reach that silence when you are carrying the entire weight of your history on your back? You think you are a person, an individual, but you are mostly just a collection of memories. And these memories are not just facts. They are psychological chains. You have a factual memory which tells you your name, your address, and how to get home. That is a utility like a map. But you also have a psychological memory which is a poison. It tells you that because someone insulted you yesterday, you must be angry today. It tells you that because you failed in the past, you are a failure now. Listen to me carefully. The man who was insulted yesterday is no more. And the man who did the insulting is also no more. The river has flowed on. But you cling to the ghost of that moment, and that ghost becomes the wall that prevents you from manifesting your true being in the present. A creative person, a person who is truly alive, must die to the past every single moment. You must become a mirror. A mirror reflects what is before it right now. It does not cling to the image of the person who stood before it 10 minutes ago. If the mirror clung to the past, it would be useless, it would be blurred, it would be a mess. Your mind is that mess. You ask me about creative imagination, and you are worried that if you drop your memory, you will lose your art. You are a writer, you say, and your roots are in your remembrance. But I tell you, if your roots are only in your remembrance, you are not a creator. You are a file keeper. You are just a technician, arranging old furniture in a new way. Real creativity happens when the unknown penetrates the known, when the sky comes down to the earth. And for that to happen, you must put the mind aside. You must give the mind a holiday. Look at the difference between a composition and a creation. A composition is a rearrangement of the old. You take a little bit from here, a little bit from there, and you put it together. It may look new to the ignorant, but it is stale, it is rotten. A creation is born out of your nothingness, out of your sunya. It is original. The word original does not mean something different. It means something that comes from the origin. And your origin is not your memory. Your origin is the divine. This is why 99% of what you call art is just pathological vomit. It is a release of suppressed madness. Look at the paintings of Picasso. They may have saved him from a madhouse, but they are not art in the sense of the objective art I speak of. If you meditate on a Picasso, you will become restless, you will feel nauseous, because you are looking at someone's vomit. But if you look at the Taj Mahal, or a statue of the Buddha, or a Zen garden, you are transported into a world of silence. Why? Because those works were created by people who were pregnant with the divine. not with pathology. You must understand the feeling of being spent. When a mother gives birth, she feels empty. She feels a postpartum depression, as your psychologists call it. But that emptiness is a sacred space. The child was a guest, and now the guest has gone. For the first time, the mother has her own space again. The same happens to a real artist. When a book is finished, when a painting is complete, the artist feels like a hollow bamboo again. Enjoy that emptiness. Don't call it death or exhaustion. It is a rest period, a fallow time, where the soil is regaining its strength to grow something even more beautiful. But you are so addicted to activity that even your art is a fever. You write to get rid of your characters. You paint to get rid of your visions. You are using creativity as a therapy, not as a celebration. And because you are not celebrating, you are always looking for a result. You are looking for fame, for recognition, for the world to say, "Ah, what a great man." Let me tell you, the moment you seek recognition, you have sold your soul to the marketplace. A creative person does not care about becoming famous. He is so fulfilled in the act of creation itself that the world's applause is just noise. Jean-Paul Sartre was right when he refused the Nobel Prize. He said, "I have already received my reward while I was working." He was an individual. He did not need a certificate from a committee to know his own value. Your manifestation fails because it is tied to your ego's need for respectability. You want to manifest a better version of yourself so that others will admire you. But respectability is a cage. To be creative, you must be ready to look bizarre, to look like a freak, to be a dropout from the collective mind. The collective mind is the lowest mind in the world. It only understands the past. It only respects the dead. If you are truly new, the collective will reject you. They will crucify you. They will poison you. And if you are afraid of that, you will never be a creator. You will only be an imitator. In the past, the creator had to live a bohemian life, the life of a vagabond, just to survive the pressure of the orthodox society. But in the future, my vision is that everyone should live individually. There will be no need for bohemianism because there will be no collective mind trying to dominate you. But until then, you must have the courage to be an outsider. You must be ready to risk everything. for a single moment of authentic being. You have been taught that work is worship, but your work is usually just a drudgery. You work because you have to, not because you love to. And because you don't love your work, you look for a reward at the end. I tell you, transform your work into play. Let the means be the end. If you are a shoemaker, be a Henry Ford of shoes. Henry Ford was a genius, not because he had money, but because he had a talent for creating wealth. Just as a poet has a talent for creating rhymes, money is a tremendous invention. It is a current, a way of exchanging the gifts of the earth. Only the jealous have condemned it. But even money, if you use it for the ego, becomes a burden. If you use it as a celebration, it becomes a blessing. The problem is that you are a spectator of life, not a participant. You read about love, you watch movies about dance, you listen to music, but you do not love, you do not dance, you do not sing. You are a bystander. Meaning comes only through participation. If you want to know what a dance is, don't watch a dancer, become the dance. If you want to know what love is, don't read poetry, become a lover. Risk everything for participation. You are waiting for the right time to manifest your life. But time is not something that happens to you. Time is something you are. You have been told that your fate is predetermined, and you use that as an excuse for your laziness. I told you that fate is a device, not a theory. If you take life as a drama, as a play where every word is written, you can finally relax and become a witness. You can stop worrying about the outcome because the outcome is already there. But you don't use it to relax, you use it to stay in your misery, saying, "What can I do? It is my karma." Your karma is nothing but your psychological memory. It is the way you have conditioned yourself to react. If you can become aware in the present moment, you can burn your karma in a single instant. You can step out of the wheel, but you don't want to step out because you are afraid of the void. You are afraid of the luminous ignorance that Socrates spoke of. The knowledgeable person is never a disciple. A disciple is one who is ready to learn. And learning means dropping what you already know so that the new can enter. Your manifestation fails because you are trying to learn how to attract X while holding on to your ideas about Y. You are not empty enough for the universe to pour its treasures into you. Consider the hollow bamboo. It has no opinions, no plans, no vision boards. It just stays empty. And because it is empty, the wind can pass through it and create music. If the bamboo were full of its own ideas about what kind of sound it wanted to manifest, it would be a block, not a flute. You are that block. You are so full of your manifestation techniques that you have no room for the manifester, the divine itself, to function through you. The secret is to be ready to learn and to find nirvana in the ordinary. You don't need a cathedral to find God. A kitchen is enough. You don't need a mountain peak to reach enlightenment. Chopping wood is enough. If you can do the trivial with total love, the trivial becomes sacred. If you can live the ordinary life with an extraordinary consciousness, you have arrived. This is the only law of attraction you will ever need. Be a celebrator. Celebrate your hunger. Celebrate your breath. Celebrate your failures. When you celebrate, you are in harmony with nature. And when you are in harmony with nature, everything you need is provided for, just as the lilies are provided for. You don't have to toil, you only have to be. I see you searching for a purpose in life, but life has no purpose, and that is its beauty. If life had a purpose, it would be a machine, a utility. A car has a purpose to take you from here to there. But where is life taking you? Nowhere. Life is just an overflowing joy, a dance for no reason at all. The moment you look for a purpose, you have moved into the intellect, and the intellect is the death of life. Be a dreamer, but not a sick dreamer. A sick dreamer dreams of escaping reality. A creative dreamer dreams of enhancing reality. Michelangelo saw Jesus in the rock and removed the unnecessary stones to free him. You must see the divine in your life and remove the unnecessary memories, the unnecessary ego tensions to free yourself. You are already the masterpiece. You are just hidden under a pile of rubble called the self. Total acceptance is the first step toward this freedom. Don't divide yourself into good and bad. If you have anger, accept it. If you have greed, accept it. Don't try to manifest peace to hide your anger. That peace will be a fake, a cold war. Real peace comes only when the energy of anger is no longer fought against, but is allowed to be understood and transformed. When you accept your totality, your ego dissolves, because the ego can only survive through division, through conflict. I am giving you these atomic techniques of the breath, of the third eye, of weightlessness, not to make you a manifestation master, but to make you a no self master. For when there is no self, there is no one left to fail. There is only the vast, silent universe expressing itself through you in 1,000 ways. Stop being a spectator. Stop watching the film and start looking at the light that makes the film possible. The light is within you. It has always been there, even while you were dreaming of better manifestations. Wake up, my beloved ones. The morning is here, the sun has risen, and the treasure is waiting right under your feet. You only have to stop running to find it. Consider the nature of your seeking. The very act of seeking truth is what makes you miss it. Why? Because truth is already the case. If you are looking for your glasses while they are already on your nose, the more you run around looking for them, the more you will be convinced they are lost. All you need to do is stop, be quiet, and touch your nose. Your mind is a mechanism that can only look for things that are far away. It cannot see the obvious. And what is more obvious than your own existence? You are here. You are breathing. You are conscious. This is the greatest miracle. And you are trying to manifest a bigger house? What a waste of eternity. If you can realize the miracle of your own being, 1,000,000 houses will not be enough to contain your joy. You have been told that you are a sinner, that you are inferior, and that you must manifest virtue to be worthy of God. But I tell you, you were born divine. Purity is your nature, not your attainment. The only thing that makes you impure is your division of life into this is holy and that is unholy. To a man of truth, everything is holy. The mud is as holy as the lotus, for the lotus cannot exist without the mud. This non-dual standpoint is what the world cannot understand. They want you to fight the devil so that God can win. But God and the devil are two sides of the same coin. If you destroy the devil, God will also disappear. Life is a tension between polar opposites, and wisdom is found in the balance, in the center, not in choosing one side over the other. Your manifestations are always a choice. You choose wealth over poverty, health over sickness, pleasure over pain. But by choosing, you remain in the world of duality. You remain a wave. I am teaching you to become the ocean, which accepts both the storm and the calm with equal grace. When you are the ocean, nothing can be taken from you and nothing can be added to you. You are whole. You are Purnam. The world is a school of learning, not a prison of discipline. Discipline is something you impose on yourself because you are afraid of your own nature. Learning is something that happens when you are in love with your own nature. Don't try to be good according to someone else's rules. Be authentic. Be true to the moment. If you are angry, let it be an authentic anger. If you are sad, let it be an authentic sadness. In that authenticity, you will find a dignity that no virtue can ever give you. I see you worrying about the future, about how you will survive if you don't manifest success. But survival is a physical concern, not a spiritual one. Your soul does not need to survive because it cannot die. You are already eternal. Death is just a long sleep, and birth is just a new morning. Once you know this, the fear that drives your manifestations will evaporate. And in the absence of fear, for the first time, you will be able to truly live. The contemporary mind is always in a hurry. It wants instant coffee, instant meditation, instant manifestation. But life moves at its own pace. You cannot force a flower to bloom before its time. If you do, you will only destroy the flower. Patience is not a virtue. It is an understanding of the rhythm of existence. Trust the universe. It has managed quite well for billions of years without your help. It can manage your life too, if you only stop interfering with your manifesting plans. The work ethic is a crime against your creativity. You have been told that you must toil, that you must suffer to achieve greatness. But real greatness comes through celebration, through play. Look at the stars. They are not working, they are dancing. Look at the trees. They are not striving, they are celebrating. Why are you the only one who thinks that life is a business? Bring a little craziness into your life. Do something mysterious, something for which you cannot give a reason. A man who is 100% sane is like a building with no windows. He is closed, he is dead. Craziness is the window that allows the fresh air of the unknown to enter your room. And that fresh air is exactly what you have been trying to manifest through your rituals, You ask, "Who am I?" and you look for an answer in the mind. But there is no answer in the mind. The mind is the problem. The only way to find out who you are is to wait in the silence after the question has dissolved. When there is no one left to ask the question, then you know. And that knowing is not a piece of information, it is a transformation of your total being. So I say to you again, stop manifesting, stop seeking, stop trying to be someone else. Return to your center, to the navel, to the gap between the breaths. Be a hollow bamboo. Let the divine sing its sound through you, and you will find that the life you reach is infinitely more beautiful than the life you were trying to manifest. Everything is here. Everything is now. You are already in the Garden of Eden, but you have closed your eyes to visualize a better garden in the future. Open your eyes, look at the greenery, listen to the birds, feel the warmth of the sun on your skin. This is it. This is the manifestation. This is the miracle. There is nowhere to go and nothing to become. You are already the truth. You are already the light. You are already the manifestation of the highest potential of the universe. Relax, let go, and celebrate the sheer glory of being alive. The silence is speaking to you. Can you hear it? It is saying, "I am." And in that I am, all the desires of the mind find their ultimate fulfillment. The journey of 1,000 manifestations begins with a single step into the present moment. That step is not an act of will, it is an act of total surrender to what is. When you can say yes to life as it is, without any conditions, without any demands, then you are truly free. And in that freedom, the whole universe becomes your home. And every moment becomes a celebration of everlasting life. You have spent your whole life being a spectator. You have watched others manifest, others succeed, others live. Now the time has come for you to become a participant. Throw away your vision boards and jump into the river of life. Let the water carry you where it will. The river knows the way to the ocean. You don't have to manifest the ocean. You only have to allow the river to reach it. This is the Osho secret. You are the ocean. You have always been the ocean. Your waves may rise and fall, but your depth remains untouched. Find that depth. Live from that depth. And you will see that manifestation was just a small game you played. while you were still afraid of your own vastness. Now the game is over. The sun has risen. Wake up, my beloved ones. Wake up to the truth that you are already everything you have ever been searching for. The manifesting mind is dead. Long live the celebrating heart. In this state of total yes, your manifestations will not succeed, they will simply disappear. For there will be no one left to want them, and in their place you will find something far more precious, the reality of your own divine existence. This is the only manifestation that matters. This is the only secret you need to know. Everything else is just talk. Everything else is just a deception of the mind. Go beyond the talk, go beyond the mind, and find the truth in the silence between your words. That is where I am, that is where you are, that is where the whole existence meets in an eternal embrace. Be blessed, be whole, be nothing. And you will find that in being nothing, you have become everything. This is the true and the right way, the authentic way to know life. And there will be great meaning in your life. Not only one-dimensional, but multi-dimensional meanings. You will be soured by meanings, not because you manifested them, but because you were there to receive them. Take one final deep breath. Watch the gap. In that gap, let the world disappear. Let Osho disappear. Let the manifestation disappear. There is only a pure, simple, luminous presence. And that is enough. That is more than enough. That is eternity. And that eternity is not something you can achieve through work. You have been taught that work is worship. But look at your work. It has become a drudgery, a weight, a heavy mountain on your chest. You work because you have to, not because you love to. And because you don't love your work, you look for a reward at the end. You are always looking for the weekend, for the manifestation of the paycheck, for the manifestation of the retirement. You are living for the results. And whenever you live for the results, you are not living at all. You are simply preparing to live. And that preparation goes on for your whole life. You prepare, and then death comes and finds you still preparing. You have never lived. You were too busy manifesting a better life to ever live the one that was actually happening. I tell you, transform your work into play. Let the means be the end. This is one of the most fundamental shifts in consciousness. If you are a shoemaker, don't just manifest a bigger shop. Be a Michelangelo of shoes. Be a Henry Ford of the craft. Henry Ford was a genius not because he had millions of dollars. That was just a byproduct, but because he had a talent for creating wealth. He saw money not as something to be hoarded, but as a current, as a currency. The word itself means a current, like a river. If you stop a river, it becomes a stagnant pool. It stinks. Only when it flows is it fresh and alive. Money is exactly like that. It is a tremendous invention, a scientific way of exchanging the gifts of the earth. Only the jealous, the people who were too lazy or too dull to create, have condemned it as filthy lucre. But I tell you, even money, if you use it for the ego, becomes a burden. If you use it as a celebration, it becomes a blessing. The problem with your manifestation rituals is that they are too serious. You are so serious about your vision boards and your affirmations, but seriousness is a disease of the ego. The divine is not serious. Look at the trees. Look at the stars. Is there any seriousness there? The universe is a vast play, a lila. It is a dance for no reason at all. If you want to manifest the highest potential of your life, you must become a participant in this dance, not a spectator. You have spent your whole life being a bystander. You read about love. You watch movies about other people's adventures. You listen to music that others have composed. But you do not love. You do not act. You do not sing. You are watching a film and you think you are in the movie. You are not. You are just a spectator. Meaning comes only through participation. If you want to know what a dance is, don't watch a dancer. Become the dance. If you want to know what love is, don't manifest a soulmate on paper. Become a lover. Risk everything for participation. Most of you are afraid to participate because participation involves risk. If you participate, you might fail. If you participate, you might be rejected. So you stay in your manifestation rituals because they are safe. You sit in your room and visualize, and it feels like you are doing something. But it is just a mental game. It is a monologue of the ego. It is not a dialogue with existence. You are waiting for the right time to manifest your life. But time is not something that happens to you. Time is something you are. You have been told that your fate is predetermined, and you use that as an excuse for your laziness. I told you that fate is a device, not a theory. If you take life as a drama, as a play where every word is already written, then for the first time you can actually relax. You can stop worrying about whether your manifestation is working or not, because the script is already done. If you are meant to have $1,000,000, you will have them. If you are meant to be a beggar, you will be one. When you truly realize this, the doer in you dies. And when the doer dies, the ego has no place to stand. Then you can finally witness the play without being tortured by it. But you don't use the idea of fate to relax. You use it to stay in your misery, saying, "What can I do? It is my karma." Your karma is nothing but your psychological memory. It is the bundle of all your past reactions and conditionings. If you can become truly aware in this present moment, you can burn your karma in a single instant. You can step out of the wheel of birth and death, but you don't want to step out because you are afraid of the void. You are afraid of that luminous ignorance that Socrates spoke of. Socrates, at the very end of his life, was a man of total discipline. Not the discipline of suds, but the discipline of learning. A knowledgeable person is never a disciple. To be a disciple means to be in a constant process of learning. And to learn, you must be ready to drop what you already know. Every moment you must die to your knowledge so that the new can penetrate you. Your manifestation rituals fail because you are not empty enough. You are trying to manifest new life while holding on to old knowledge. You are like a person who is trying to fill an already full cup. Of course, it overflows and goes to waste. You must first become a hollow bamboo. The hollow bamboo has no opinions, no plans, no complex manifestation strategies. It simply stays empty. And because it is empty, when the wind passes through it, a song is born. If the bamboo were full of its own ideas about what kind of music it wanted to produce, it would be a block, not a flute. You are that block. You are so full of your techniques that you have no room for the technicolor reality of the divine to function through you. The real secret is to be ready to learn from every situation and to find nirvana in the ordinary. You don't need a cathedral to find the manifestation of God. A kitchen is enough. You don't need a mountain peak to reach enlightenment. Cleaning your shoes is enough. If you can do the trivial with total love, the trivial becomes sacred. This is what the Zen of life is all about. It is the transformation of the profane into the holy through the simple touch of awareness. If you can live the ordinary life with an extraordinary consciousness, you have already manifested everything that is worth having. This is the only law of attraction that actually works. Be a celebrator. Celebrate your hunger. Celebrate your breath. Celebrate your very presence. When you celebrate, you are in harmony with the natural rhythm of the universe. And when you are in harmony, everything you need is provided for, just as the lilies are provided for. You don't have to toil, you only have to be. But you have been taught to be ambitious, and ambition is the death of celebration. The ambitious man is always looking at the horizon, never at the flower that is blooming right under his feet. He is manifesting a paradise in the future while trampling over the paradise that is already here. I see you searching for a purpose in life, asking, why was I created? What is my manifestation destiny? But life has no purpose, and that is its sheer beauty. If life had a purpose, it would be a machine. A machine has a purpose to produce something. But what is the purpose of a rose? What is the purpose of a sunrise? What is the purpose of your laughter? There is no purpose. It is just an overflowing joy, a dance for no reason at all. The moment you look for a purpose, you have moved into the cold, dry intellect, and the intellect is the death of life. Stop looking for meaning and start creating it. Meaning is not something to be discovered, it is something to be lived. It is a song to be sung, a dance to be danced. Be a dreamer, but distinguish your dreams. There are sick dreams, the dreams of repressions and fears, and there are creative dreams, the dreams of a soul that is in tune with existence. Michelangelo saw the statue of Jesus in the rock and removed the unnecessary stones to free him. That was a creative dream. He was not manifesting something new onto the rock. He was revealing what was already hidden within it. You must do the same with your life. You must see the divine that is already there and remove the unnecessary memories, the unnecessary ego tensions, the unnecessary manifestation rituals that are just covering your true face. You are already the masterpiece. You are just hidden under a pile of psychological rubble called the self. Total acceptance is the first step toward this freedom. Don't divide yourself into good and bad. If you have anger, accept it. If you have greed, accept it. Don't try to manifest a saintly version of yourself to hide your sinner side. That saintly version will be a fake, a mask. Real peace comes only when you stop fighting yourself. When the conflict ends, the ego dissolves, because the ego can only survive through division. When you accept your totality, you become an organic unity. And in that unity, you are for the first time strong. I am giving you these atomic techniques: the focus on the third eye, the awareness of the gap in the breath, the feeling of weightlessness, not to give you more knowledge, but to help you wake up. For when you wake up, you realize that everything you were trying to manifest was just a shadow. The truth is the light. If you chase the shadow, you will run forever and remain empty-handed. If you turn toward the light, the shadow follows you on its own. Consider the nature of your seeking. The very act of seeking truth is what makes you miss it. Why? Because the seeker is the sought. You are looking for God as if He is somewhere else, but He is the very one who is looking through your eyes. You are trying to manifest a higher consciousness, but that consciousness is already the base of your being. It is like a fish in the ocean, asking, "Where is the water? I have heard so much about this thing called ocean, but I cannot find it." The old fish laughs and says, "This is it. You are in it. You are part of it. You cannot exist without it." Your mind is a mechanism that can only look for things that are far away. It cannot see the obvious. It cannot see the here and now. It is always looking at the there and the then. And because you are looking far away, you miss the treasure that is right under your feet. Stop. Be quiet. Just sit. Don't do anything. Let the mind subside. In that silence, the hollow bamboo starts singing. In that silence, the third eye opens. In that silence, you realize that you have never been born and you can never die. You have been told that you are a sinner, that you are inferior, and that you must perform certain rituals to manifest a state of worthiness. But I tell you, you were born divine. Purity is your very nature. The only thing that makes you feel impure is your own division of life into holy and unholy. To a man of truth, everything is holy. The mud is as holy as the lotus. The market is as holy as the temple. The moment you stop dividing, you are pure. And in that purity, the entire universe starts manifesting its glory through you. This is the non-dual standpoint that the world cannot understand. They want you to fight the devil so that God can win. But God and the devil are just the two poles of the same energy. If you destroy one, the other disappears. Life is a tension between opposites, and wisdom is found in the balance, not in the choice. Your manifestations are always a choice. You choose wealth over poverty, success over failure. But by choosing, you remain a fragment. I am teaching you to become the whole. The whole accepts everything. The whole is inclusive. When you are the whole, nothing can be taken from you and nothing can be added to you. You are Purnam, complete. The world is a school of learning, not a factory of production. Don't try to be good according to some dead scripture or some social convention. Be authentic. Be true to your own nature. If you are angry, be authentically angry. If you are sad, let it be an authentic sadness. In that authenticity, you will find a dignity that no amount of virtue can ever give you. The manifesting mind is a fake mind. It is always wearing a mask to please the law of attraction. But the divine is not pleased by masks. The divine only recognizes the face you had before you were born. I see you worrying about the future, about your security, about whether your manifestations will come true in time to save you. But survival is a physical concern of the body. Your soul does not need to survive because it is beyond time. You are already eternal. Once you know this, the fear that drives your manifestations evaporates, and in the absence of fear, for the first time, you are able to truly live. You can finally enjoy the dance without worrying about when the music will stop. The contemporary mind is always in a desperate hurry. It wants instant results. It wants a manifestation in 24 hours or success in 7 days. But life does not follow your calendar. You cannot force a flower to bloom by pulling at its petals. If you do, you will only have a dead flower in your hands. Patience is an understanding of the organic rhythm of existence. Trust the universe. It has managed quite well for billions of years. It knows when to bring the rain and when to bring the sun. It knows when to bring you wealth and when to bring you silence. If you stop interfering with your manifestation plans, you will see that everything happens at the exact right moment. The work ethic that you have been sold is a crime against your own joy. You have been told that you must toil, that you must suffer to achieve greatness. But look at the stars. Are they toiling? Look at the trees. Are they working hard to grow? No, they are playing. They are celebrating. Why are you the only one who thinks that life is a business deal? Manifestation is not a result of hard work, it is a result of heart work. It is a result of falling in tune with the music of the whole. Bring a little craziness into your life. Do something mysterious, something for which you cannot supply any reason. A man who is 100% sane is like a desert, dry, dusty, and dead. A little bit of craziness is like an oasis. It is the window that allows the fresh air of the unknown to enter. And that fresh air is exactly what you have been trying to manifest through your rituals. But your rituals are too sane, too logical, too calculated. Step out of your calculation. Be a little bit mad. You ask, "Who am I?" and you look for a definition. But there is no definition for you. You are an opening, a potentiality, 1,001 possibilities. You are a process, not a thing. The moment you define yourself, you have limited yourself. Stop trying to manifest a specific identity. Be nameless. Be formless. Like the wind, be everywhere and nowhere at once. Then you are for the first time free. So I say to you again, stop manifesting. Stop seeking. Stop trying to be someone other than who you are. Return to your center, to the navel, to the silent gap between your breaths. Be a hollow bamboo. Let the universe sing its song through you. And you will find that the life you discover is infinitely more beautiful, more rich, and more magical than any life you could ever have manifested through the mind. Everything is here. Everything is now. You are already in paradise, but you have closed your eyes to visualize a better heaven in the future. Open your eyes. Look at the greenery around you. Listen to the heartbeat within you. Feel the vast space that contains you. This moment, this moment, this moment, this moment, this is the only manifestation that is real. This is the only miracle. There is nowhere to go and nothing to become. You are already the truth itself. You are already the truth. You are already the light. You are already the manifestation of the highest potential of existence. Relax. Let go. and celebrate the sheer glory of being alive. The silence is speaking to you. Can you hear it? It is saying, I am. And in that I am, all the hungers of the ego find their ultimate rest. The journey of 1,000 manifestations begins with a single step into the present moment. That step is not an act of will. It is an act of total surrender to what is. When you can say yes to life exactly as it is, without any conditions, without any vision boards, then you are truly free. And in that freedom, the whole universe becomes your home. And every moment becomes a celebration of everlasting life. You have spent your whole life being a spectator of your own existence. You have watched others manifest, others succeed, others live. Now the time has come for you to become a participant. Throw away your vision boards and jump into the river of life. Let the water carry you where it will. The river knows the way to the ocean. You don't have to manifest the ocean. You only have to allow the river to reach it. This is the secret. You are the ocean. You have always been the ocean. Your waves may rise and fall. They may be angry or calm, but your depth remains untouched. Find that depth, live from that depth, and you will see that manifestation was just a small game you played while you were still afraid of your own infinity. Now the game is over. The sun has risen. Wake up, my beloved ones. Wake up to the truth that you are already everything you have ever been searching for. The manifesting mind is dead. Long live the celebrating heart. In this state of total yes, your manifestations will not succeed. They will simply disappear, for there will be no one left to want them. And in their place, you will find something far more precious: the reality of your own divine existence. This is the only manifestation that matters. This is the only secret you need to know. Everything else is just talk. Everything else is just a deception of the mind. Go beyond the talk, go beyond the mind, and find the truth in the silence between your words. That is where I am. That is where you are. That is where the whole existence meets in an eternal embrace. Be blessed. Be whole. Be nothing. And you will find that in being nothing, you have become everything. This is the true and the right way, the authentic way to know life. And there will be great meaning in your life, not only one-dimensional, but multi-dimensional meanings. You will be soured by meanings, not because you manifested them, but because you were there to receive them. Take one final deep breath. Watch the gap. In that gap, let the world disappear. Let Osho disappear. Let the manifestation disappear. There is only a pure, simple, luminous presence. And that is enough. That is more than enough. That is eternity. And you must understand that this eternity is not something static. It is not like a stone. It is a constant, vibrant movement. It is a dance. But the dance has no destination. It is a dance for the sake of dancing. Your manifestation rituals are like a person who is trying to learn the steps of the dance so that they can reach the end of the stage. But the stage is infinite. There is no end. If you are focused on the steps, you miss the dance. If you are focused on the destination, you miss the journey. A creative person is one who is constantly innovate new ways of being, new ways of laughing, new ways of loving. Don't be a technician of life, be an artist. A technician knows how to do a thing, but he has no insight. He repeats the same pattern over and over again. A creative person has insight. He sees things that nobody else has ever seen. He hears things that nobody else has ever heard. And he brings those fragments from the unknown into the world of the known. This is the highest form of creativity. Bringing consciousness into your every act. When you are conscious, your every act becomes creative. Even if you are just sitting silently, that silence is a creative act. It is a blessing to the world. A Buddha sitting under a tree is the greatest creator the world has ever known, even though he never painted a picture or wrote a poem. He created a vibration of peace, a vibration of truth that has lasted for 25 centuries. Do you want to manifest that kind of power? Then stop trying to manifest things and start manifesting consciousness. Be more aware, be more alert, be more present. The more conscious you are, the more you will see that everything you need is already here. The more conscious you are, the more you will see that the universe is not an alien world, but your own home. You are the universe looking at itself. You are the divine experiencing itself through a human form. This is the greatest mystery. This is the ultimate manifestation. Why are you playing with pebbles on the shore when the entire ocean of bliss is yours? Wake up The morning is here. The sun has risen. The treasure is waiting. You are the emperor who has forgotten his kingdom and is dreaming of being a beggar. Stop the dream. Wake up to your reality. You are already whole. You are already complete. You are already divine. Everything is here. Everything is now. This moment, this is it. This is the Osho secret. This is the only truth. All the rest is just a dream of the mind. Walk out of the dream and into the reality of everlasting life. Be a celebrator. Be a dancer. Be a song. And the whole universe will sing with you. Take one more breath. Watch the turn. In that turn you are free. In that turn you are home. In that turn you are God. There is no other manifestation. There is no other goal. This is the end of the journey and the beginning of a life that never ends. Be silent. Be still. And know that I am. That is all. That is enough. And that purity I speak of, that luminosity of being, has nothing to do with what your priests call goodness. Ordinarily, you divide everything into two categories, the bad and the good. You think that by discarding the bad and clinging to the good, you will become pure. But I tell you, for Tantra, this very division is the root of all impurity. Tantra does not look at life through this dualism. To divide is to be impure. To live in non-division is to be pure. Purity in its truest sense means innocence, an undifferentiated, childlike innocence. Look at a child. He gets angry. He is greedy for a toy. Yet you call him pure. Why? Because the child has no mind to be angry. His response is a pure, spontaneous happening. When the anger goes, it is gone completely, leaving no trace behind. But the more your mind grows, the more you lose this purity. Your anger becomes a considered thing, a calculated thing. You suppress it in one moment only to let it explode in another where it isn't even needed. This is how the mind creates a mess. The sage is someone who has regained this innocence through wisdom, not through ignorance like the child. The child is innocent because he does not yet know. The sage is innocent because he has known everything and has gone beyond it. This is the meaning of the story of Adam and Eve. They were expelled from the Garden of Eden the moment they ate from the tree of knowledge. Knowledge is the original sin because knowledge brings division. Suddenly, they became aware of their nakedness and with that awareness came guilt and shame. To enter the kingdom of God again, you must fulfill the condition Jesus spoke of. You must become like a child again. The contemporary mind is a legalist mind, much like the mind of Confucius. Confucius once went to see Lao Tzu, and Lao Tzu's mind was that of a tantrically awakened sage. Confucius asked for definitions of good and bad so that people could be led and guided. But Lao Tzu laughed and said that definitions create a mess because they divide a reality that is one. Life is a constant movement where A is always becoming B. Health is moving into disease and childhood into old age. Where can you draw the line? Lao Tzu told him that nature is enough, that spontaneous discipline is enough. Confucius came back disturbed, calling Lao Tzu a dragon, because Lao Tzu destroyed the very foundation of the mind. Tantra believes in your inherent goodness. This is a radical departure from standard religions, which assume you are born evil and need to be disciplined into goodness. Priests and moralists take you as a chaos that they must order from the outside. But Tantra says you are already a holy, organic unity. You are already perfect, but you are not centered. If you are not inside yourself, your energy, like anger, creates havoc. If you are present, that same energy becomes health. In the vision of Tantra, there is no devil, only divine existence. Standard religions divide you. They accept your love but reject your hate. But love and hate are not two separate things. They are two waves of the same movement. Like breathing in and breathing out. If you stop your hate, your love will also die, because it loses its polar opposite. By rejecting parts of yourself, you become a hypocrite. You pay lip service to ideals of non-violence while remaining violent inside. Tantra says, accept the whole, for the whole is an organic unity that cannot be divided. The first step and the most difficult one is to accept whatsoever you are. You may get angry many times a day, but to accept your anger is nearly impossible, because it destroys your self-image of being a good person. So you repent, you ask for forgiveness, not because you are sorry, but to re-establish your ego. You use the future to escape the present. You say, I am violent today, but I will manifest non-violence tomorrow. This tomorrow is just a trick to avoid the fact of who you are right now. A greedy mind cannot manifest non-greed. It will only manifest a more subtle form of greed, like the greed for heaven or eternal pleasure. Priests appeal to this greed by telling you to give up momentary pleasures for eternal ones. That is not religion, that is a bargain. Tantra says to remain with the fact of your greed, to go deep into it, to its very roots. When you know a fact in its total facticity, you transcend it. The mud becomes a lotus not by discarding the mud, but by transforming it. This transformation requires a radical shift from being a spectator to being a participant. Most people are just spectators. They read books, watch movies, and listen to sermons without ever participating in life. They are reduced to inactivity. But meaning comes only through participation. You cannot know love by reading poetry. You must become a lover. You cannot know the dance by watching a dancer. You must dance. Risk everything for participation. For a man who is 100% sane and calculated is already dead. I have heard a story about Socrates, who, while awaiting death in prison, was haunted by a dream that told him to make music. He had spent his life in logic and philosophy, but in the face of death, he picked up a flute. For the first time, he was spontaneous, bridging the gap between logic and the mysterious. Your life must also be bridged. You must find the mysterious within the ordinary. Even in something like money, there is an art. Wealth can provide the comforts and energy needed to appreciate the higher things in life, like music and art. A man who is hungry cannot understand Mozart. A beggar cannot appreciate the whirling stars of Van Gogh. Money is a tremendous scientific invention, a medium of exchange that allows wealth to flow like a current. It is only the jealous and the lazy who have condemned it. Respect the creator of wealth just as you respect the creator of music. If you understand that everything is a device for your growth, then there are no contradictions. Different masters give different techniques because different minds need different appeals. But the goal is always the same: to return you to your center. Whether you use the breath, the third eye, or the feeling of weightlessness, you are simply trying to put the mind aside so that your being can shine through. You are already the truth. Only a certain awakening is needed. The secret is to be total in whatever you do. If you can clean a floor with such love that you forget yourself, You are a creator. You are participating in the work of the divine. The greatness is not in the thing done, but in the consciousness you bring to it. Each moment of your life must be transformed by your meditative love. Do not wait for a big thing to happen to be happy. Find nirvana in the ordinary tasks of the day. When the storm of creativity passes, you will feel empty, and that is as it should be. Accept the night as you accept the day. Do not be afraid of the silence, for the silence is where you recuperate and rejuvenate. The deeper the creation, the deeper the emptiness that follows. This emptiness is Sunya, the positive space of the ultimate goal. It is in this Sunya that you truly encounter yourself. Remember, you are not an island. You are part of a vast continent. The whole universe is breathing together. When you are silent, the walls between you and existence disappear. You realize that there is no other, that we are all different expressions of one reality. This realization is the birth of authentic religion, a religion of love, reverence for life, and spontaneous compassion. Stop dreaming of a better life and wake up to the psychedelic beauty of the life you already have. The manifestation you seek is not a future achievement, it is a present discovery. The treasure is in your house, hidden under the earth of your ego. Dig a little bit, move the mind aside, and you will see that you are already an emperor. The universe is a celebration, a play for no reason at all. Join the dance. Let your life be a poem, a song, a celebration of the sheer joy of being. The manifesting mind is a small calculating mind. The celebrating heart is the infinite door to the divine. Step through that door and realize that you have never been born and you can never die, for you are one with the everlasting life of the whole. Look at the way your mind interprets reality. When you see a lotus, do you see the mud it came from? You cannot recognize the mud in the fragrance or the beauty of the petals, but the mud is there, transformed. Buddha is a man who has reached the ultimate growth of his potential, turning his inner mud into a flower. You are also that potential. You have the same mud of anger, sex, and greed. Do not discard them. Allow them to be transformed through awareness and total acceptance. The work ethic of the past has turned your life into a drudgery. It is a hangover that must be dropped. Your education has been a training in memory, not intelligence. It has destroyed your capacity to be creative, by forcing you into repetitive patterns. But you can undo all of that. You can reclaim your intelligence by becoming more meditative, more silent, and more heart centered. To be creative is to be in harmony with nature. It is the greatest rebellion because you must get rid of all conditionings to follow your own way. You must be an individual, a drop out from the mob psychology. This is the fragrance of freedom. When you live on your own terms, without interfering with others, you are creative. Don't be a spectator watching the film of your life. Step onto the stage. Be the dance, be the song, be the love. Meaning is not lying behind a bush waiting to be found. It is something you must create through participation. And when you participate totally, you will find that the goal is not in the future, but right here in the doing of it. The contemporary mind is always in search of results, but results are of the mind. Life is of the present. In the present, there are no results, only the flowing process. When you are in the flow, you are relaxed. You are a hollow bamboo, and the divine is playing a melody through you. This is the ultimate manifestation. This is the only reality worth knowing. As you sit here, breathing, remember the gap between the breaths. That gap is the door to eternity. In that gap, you are neither the body nor the mind. You are simply existence. When you touch that center, you touch the source of all energy and all creation. This is the secret Shiva gave to Devi, and it is the same secret I give to you. Manifesting fails because it is a movement toward the horizon. The truth is found when the movement stops. When you are simply here, without any desire to be anywhere else, then everything you ever sought comes to you. This is the irony of the spiritual path. When you don't want anything, everything is yours. You become the master because you have surrendered the ego. The world you see is a reflection of your own inner state. If you are divided and in conflict, the world looks like a battlefield. If you are centered and in harmony, the world is a wonder-filled universe. Purity is not about being good, it is about being whole. When you are whole, everything is holy. I invite you to try these techniques not with seriousness, but with a spirit of play. Take one method and play with it for 3 days. If it clicks, if something explodes within you, then continue it for 3 months. Miracles are possible if the technique fits you, but effort is needed. not the effort of the will, but the effort of a sincere, patient practice. The Osho's secret is simple. There is nowhere to go and nothing to become. You are already the truth. You are already the Buddha. You are already the manifestation of the divine. The only thing missing is your awareness of it. So stop seeking and start looking. Stop desiring and start celebrating. The treasure is here. The morning has come, and the ocean of bliss is calling you. You have spent enough time as a beggar. Now reclaim your kingdom. You have spent enough time in the shadows. Now walk into the light. The manifests you desire are tiny pebbles compared to the diamonds of your own inner reality. Drop the pebbles, and the diamonds are yours. The mind is a monster of thoughts and memories, a mess of hodgepodge knowledge. Clean it, make it a blank space, for the empty mind is the workshop of God. In that emptiness, truth showers down as light. In that emptiness, you are reborn anew. And as you move back into your worldly activity, keep your attention between the two breaths. Let your life be a drama you are enacting, while your center remains fixed in the eternal gap. Then you will be in the world but not of it. You will be an actor playing a role, centered in the everlasting life of your own being. This is the only transformation that matters. This is the only path to real freedom. Be total, be whole, and be here now. The manifestation of your highest potential is not a future event. It is the reality of your very existence in this moment. Let your laughter be spontaneous and your tears be authentic. Let your life be a celebration, a dance, a song for no reason at all. In that purposelessness, you will find the highest purpose. In that nothingness, you will find everything. I am with you. The whole existence is with you. You are not alone. You are not thrown into this world. You are a growth of the universe itself. Reclaim your roots. Find your center and live the extraordinary life that is your birthright. Every cell in your body is part of the universe. Every breath you take is a bridge to the infinite. Realize this, and your life will become a blessing to you and to all who come in contact with you. The treasure is revealed. The silence is singing, and the journey has ended where it began, within you. This is the secret. This is the truth. This is the manifestation you have been waiting for. Stop seeking and find. Take one final deep breath and watch the gap, for in that gap you are touching the very pulse of eternity. And that eternity is not something you can achieve through work or through the frantic striving you call manifestation. You have been taught by the priests and the politicians that work is worship. But look at your work, it has become a drudgery, a weight, a heavy mountain on your chest. You work because you have to, not because you love to. And because you don't love your work, you look for a reward at the end. You are always looking for the weekend, for the manifestation of the paycheck, for the manifestation of the retirement. You are living for the results. And whenever you live for the results, you are not living at all. You are simply preparing to live. And that preparation goes on for your whole life. You prepare, and then death comes and finds you still preparing. You have never lived because you were too busy manifesting a better life to ever live the one that was actually happening in the here and now. I tell you, transform your work into play. Let the means be the end. This is one of the most fundamental shifts in consciousness you can ever make. If you are a shoemaker, don't just manifest a bigger shop. Be a Michelangelo of shoes. Be a Henry Ford of the craft. Henry Ford was a genius not because he had millions of dollars. That was just a byproduct, but because he had a talent for creating wealth. He saw money not as something to be hoarded, but as a current, as a currency. The word itself means a current, like a river. If you stop a river, it becomes a stagnant pool that stinks. Only when it flows is it fresh and alive. Money is exactly like that. It is a tremendous invention, a scientific way of exchanging the gifts of the earth. Only the jealous, the people who were too lazy or too dull to create, have condemned it as filthy. But I tell you, even money, if you use it for the ego, becomes a burden. Yet if you use it as a celebration, it becomes a blessing. Create wealth, because only after creating wealth do many other dimensions open for you. The problem with your manifestation rituals is that they are too serious. You are so serious about your vision boards and your affirmations, but seriousness is a disease of the ego, and the divine is not serious at all. Look at the trees, look at the stars. Is there any seriousness there? The universe is a vast play, a leela. It is a dance for no reason at all. If you want to manifest the highest potential of your life, you must become a participant in this dance, not just a spectator. You have spent your whole life being a bystander. reading about love, watching movies about other people's adventures, and listening to music that others have composed. But you do not love, you do not act, you do not sing. You are watching a film and you think you are in the movie, but you are not. You are just a spectator. Meaning comes only through participation. If you want to know what a dance is, don't watch a dancer, become the dance. If you want to know what love is, don't manifest a soul mate on paper, become a lover. Risk everything for participation. Most of you are afraid to participate because participation involves risk. If you participate, you might fail or be rejected. So you stay in your manifestation rituals because they are safe. You sit in your room and visualize, and it feels like you are doing something, but it is just a mental game, a monologue of the ego. It is not a dialogue with existence. You are waiting for the right time to manifest your life. But time is not something that happens to you. Time is something you are. You have been told that your fate is predetermined, and you use that as an excuse for your laziness. But I told you that fate is a device, not a theory. If you take life as a drama, as a play, where every word is already written, then for the first time you can actually relax. You can stop worrying about whether your manifestation is working or not, because the script is already done. When you truly realize this, the doer in you dies. And when the doer dies, the ego has no place to stand. Then you can finally witness the play without being tortured by it. Your karma is nothing but your psychological memory, the bundle of all your past reactions and conditionings. If you can become truly aware in this present moment, you can burn your karma in a single instant. You can step out of the wheel of birth and death. But you don't want to step out because you are afraid of the void, afraid of that luminous ignorance that Socrates spoke of. Socrates, at the very end of his life, was a man of total discipline, not the discipline of suds, but the discipline of learning. A knowledgeable person is never a disciple. To be a disciple means to be in a constant process of learning. And to learn, you must be ready to drop what you already know. Every moment you must die to your knowledge so that the new can penetrate you. Your manifestation rituals fail because you are not empty enough. You are trying to manifest new life while holding on to old knowledge. like a person who is trying to fill an already full cup. You must first become a hollow bamboo. The hollow bamboo has no opinions, no plans, no complex manifestation strategies. It simply stays empty. And because it is empty, when the wind passes through it, a sound is born. If the bamboo were full of its own ideas about what kind of music it wanted to produce, it would be a block, not a flute. You are that block because you are so full of your techniques that you have no room for the technicolor reality of the divine to function through you. The real secret is to be ready to learn from every situation and to find nirvana in the ordinary. You don't need a cathedral to find the manifestation of God. A kitchen is enough. You don't need a mountain peak to reach enlightenment. Cleaning your shoes is enough. If you can do the trivial with total love, the trivial becomes sacred. This is the transformation of the profane into the holy through the simple touch of awareness. If you can live the ordinary life with an extraordinary consciousness, you have already manifested everything that is worth having. This is the only law of attraction that actually works. Be a celebrator. Celebrate your hunger. Celebrate your breath. Celebrate your very presence. When you celebrate, you are in harmony with the natural rhythm of the universe. And then everything you need is provided for. Just as the lilies are provided for. You don't have to toil, you only have to be. But you have been taught to be ambitious. And ambition is the death of celebration. I see you searching for a purpose in life, asking, why was I created? But life has no purpose, and that is its beauty. If life had a purpose, it would be a machine. But there is no purpose for a rose, or a sunrise, or your laughter. Meaning is not something to be discovered, it is something to be created. A song to be sung, a dance to be danced. Be a creative dreamer, revealing what is already hidden within the rock of your life. You are already the masterpiece. You are just hidden under a pile of psychological rubble called the self. Total acceptance is the first step toward this freedom. Don't divide yourself into good and bad. If you have anger or greed, accept them. Don't try to manifest a saintly version of yourself to hide your sinner side, for that will be a fake mask. Real peace comes only when you stop fighting yourself, and when the conflict ends, the ego dissolves. I am giving you these atomic techniques. The focus on the third eye, the awareness of the gap in the breath, the feeling of weightlessness, not to give you more knowledge, but to help you wake up. For when you wake up, you realize that everything you were trying to manifest was just a shadow, and truth is the light. The very act of seeking truth is what makes you miss it, because the seeker is the sought. You are looking for God as if He is somewhere else, but He is the very one who is looking through your eyes. Your mind is a mechanism that can only look for things that are far away, so it misses the obvious here and now. Stop, be quiet, just sit and let the mind subside. In that silence, the hollow bamboo starts singing, and you realize that you have never been born and you can never die. You were born divine, and purity is your very nature. The only thing that makes you feel impure is your own division of life into holy and unholy. The mud is as holy as the lotus. This is the non-dual standpoint where wisdom is found in the balance. Your manifestations are always a choice, but by choosing, you remain a fragment. I am teaching you to become the whole, where nothing can be taken from you and nothing can be added to you. You are Purnam, complete. Be authentic and true to your own nature. The manifesting mind is a fake mind, always wearing a mask to please the law of attraction. But the divine only recognizes the face you had before you were born. Stop worrying about the future and your security, for your soul does not need to survive because it is beyond time. Once you know this, the fear that drives your manifestations evaporates. Trust the universe. It knows when to bring you wealth and when to bring you silence. Stop interfering with your manifestation plans, and everything will happen at the exact right moment. Real greatness comes through celebration and play, not through the work ethic, which is a crime against your joy. Look at the stars. They are not working, they are dancing. Bring a little craziness into your life. For a man who is 100% sane is like a building with no windows. Craziness is the window that allows the unknown to enter. Stop trying to manifest a specific identity and be formless like the wind. Stop manifesting, stop seeking, and return to your center, to the navel, to the silent gap between your breaths. Be a hollow bamboo and let the universe sing its song through you. You are already in paradise, so open your eyes and look at the greenery around you. This is the only manifestation that is real. This is the only miracle. There is nowhere to go and nothing to become, for you are already the truth and the light. Relax, let go, and celebrate the sheer glory of being alive. The silence is saying, I am. And in that I am, all the hungers of the ego find their ultimate rest. The journey of 1,000 manifestations begins with a single step into the present moment, an act of total surrender to what is. when you can say yes to life without any conditions, then you are truly free. Stop being a spectator and jump into the river of life. The river knows the way to the ocean, and you are that ocean. You have always been the ocean. Your waves may rise and fall, but your depth remains untouched. Wake up, my beloved ones, to the truth that you are already everything you have ever been searching for. The manifesting mind is dead. Long live the celebrating heart. In this state of total yes, your manifestations will simply disappear, for there will be no one left to want them. And in their place, you will find the reality of your own divine existence. Everything else is just talk and a deception of the mind. Go beyond the mind and find the truth in the silence between your words. That is where I am, and that is where you are. Be blessed, be whole, be nothing. And you will find that in being nothing, you have become everything. This is the authentic way to know life, and you will be soured by meanings, not because you manifested them, but because you were there to receive them. Take one final deep breath, watch the gap, and let the manifestation disappear into a pure, simple, luminous presence. And that is enough. That is eternity. If this resonance is reaching you, if you feel your roots trembling with the possibility of growth, then join this fellowship of the awake. Like this video if it has sparked a light, and subscribe so that our laughter may continue to echo in your life. For those who feel an overflowing gratitude, the Super Thanks button is a beautiful way to share your energy and support the continuity of these teachings. And our joint community is where the hollow bamboos meet to create a deeper music together. And if you want a map to reclaim your divinity and move beyond the mind's deceptions, our ebook, The Hidden Energy Protocol, Reclaim Your God Mode, is waiting for you in the description below. Reclaim your roots, find your center, and live the extraordinary life that is your birthright. Every cell in your body is part of the universe, and every breath you take is a bridge to the infinite. The treasure is revealed, the silence is singing, and the journey has ended where it began, within you. This is the secret. This is the truth. This is the manifestation you have been waiting for. Stop seeking and find.